What's going on, guys? Noah Sanford here, coming back at you guys with that Thursday fishing report as usual. Before we jump into the video, I want to thank all of you guys who have been supporting the channel recently. It really means a lot. We're about to hit 3,000 subscribers, which is just absolutely mind-blowing for how short a time we've been doing this whole little YouTube thing. So I appreciate all you guys following along. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow the page if you haven't yet, to not miss not only these Thursday fishing reports, but all other bass fishing content that we're putting out there for you guys. Anyways, jumping right into it, let's go ahead and talk about wind conditions for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All 3 days are going to be pretty windy in the mid-20s by the early afternoon, so noon, 1 o'clock in that time frame. But if you get out there early like you should with these really hot and windy conditions that we're having, you should be just fine because all 3 of the mornings look pretty manageable when it comes to the wind. Pretty flat, actually. It shouldn't be too bad at all, as long as you get out there early and you're off the water by 9, 10, 11 o'clock at the latest. Let's go ahead and talk about water temperatures. As you guys know, it is triple-digit season outside, and what that means is the water temperatures are going to be consistently hot. Depending on the coves and the areas you're going to be fishing at on Lake Mead right now, you're probably going to expect anywhere between 80 to 84 degree water. So one of the coves that we started out with this morning with my clients early this morning, the water was literally 83.9. So very, very, very warm water. And that's gonna mean a couple things, and we're gonna jump right into what that means. So starting off with where we've been catching these bass, guys. I hammer this point a lot on the channel, and that's because it's extremely important for you guys to make sure you're doing. So us as bass fishermen, we tend to go out there and we will fish spots, or we will fish memories, or we'll go to a really good area where we've caught fish in the past, right? The biggest thing that I want to talk about right now is the fact that you guys have to be focusing on the conditions and not the spots or the memories that you've caught fish at the past, okay? In the last week or two, there have been a huge influx of these little tiny threadfin shad that are hatching, and they're showing up everywhere. And so when I say little, I mean literally like threadfin shad that are the size of your pinky nail, these tiny, tiny little threadfin shad. And if you find the right areas and the right coves with the right conditions, you're gonna find these shad, and wherever you find those shad, you're gonna find the bass, because those bass aren't stupid and they're gonna know where that food source is. And once they find it, they're not gonna leave until that food source is gone. So really important this time of year to find those areas with active fish that are feeding on an active school of bait. They're out there. It's really just a matter of putting the time in on the water and finding those areas. I'm gonna make it a little bit easier for you guys to find those areas. Typically, those areas with all of that bait fish that I've been finding recently have been shallower coves where the sides are gonna be pretty gradual, not super steep, and the guts or the centers of that cove, if you will not exceed more than about 20 feet. And that's a pretty important part to this, because threadfin shad do not like super deep open water. They like shallow, warm, protected water. So if you can find those sandy coves, especially if you can find some stuff with sticks or grass or some sort of cover in the back of those coves with warm, protected water that's away from the wind and lots of shallow water for them to kind of hang out in, that's typically where we've been catching a lot of the big fish. I'm gonna go ahead and pop some pictures up right here. These are mostly fish that we've been catching this week with my clients, and all of these fish came out of an area similar to what I just described. A shallower cove, lots of bait fish, lots of life, grass in the back, sticks, not too deep. And whenever you find all of those ingredients, you're gonna make the recipe to find some big fish. You can notice a lot of these are really, really solid bass. We've been absolutely just destroying them this last week. Really, really quality fish, but you have to make sure you're fishing the conditions and not the spot. It doesn't matter if you had a really good spot last month, if there's no bait fish there, or there's no, at least some crawdads or something for those fish to eat, little bluegill, there's not gonna be any fish there. There might be a few, but it's not gonna be anything really that's worth writing home about. You gotta make sure you go out there and find those active fish and those active balls of bait, and that's where you're gonna get the most amount of hookups. A lot of the times in my guided trips this last week, we'll be fishing down the bank, not really getting much. When we run into one of these areas and boom, we literally catch 3, 4, 5 fish at once. one of those pictures with those 3 guys holding all those fish, all 4 of those big fish were caught in literally the same 5-minute stretch, to the point where 3 of the 4, we literally were tripled up. It was so chaotic. I tried to pull out my phone to start recording. I couldn't even do it because I was trying to net all 3 of these fish at different times. It was just unbelievable. And so whenever you find an area with the right ingredients to make that recipe like we were just talking about, you're gonna find that there's a lot of feeding, active, schooled up bass, and you're gonna just be catching them left and right. So make sure to go out there this weekend, look for those areas. Once you find them, you're gonna wanna throw the little shad imitating baits. It really doesn't matter what you throw. We threw a lot of shad imitating baits today and throughout the last week. Little topwater poppers, little jerk baits, little swim baits, anything that looks like and mimics those bait fish, you're gonna get bit on. So appreciate you guys always watching. My name is Noah Sanford. Get out there and catch some fish this weekend. We'll see you guys out on the water.